Hey guys, I'm AnnieChie Designs and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, a question a lot of people get when they're starting to think about cosplaying is, can I even cosplay? They start to think that maybe there's certain features about themselves that might prevent them from actually doing this really fun hobby. And the too long don't watch version of this video really is, yeah, anyone can cosplay. It doesn't matter what you physically look like, out of costume, out of makeup, out of wigs, etc. Anyone can cosplay, no matter your size, your age, your race. None of that ends up mattering because cosplay is for fun. But let's actually talk about that a little bit. Let's actually discuss this a bit because it's actually a very important topic. I think it needs to be talked about a little more. I think this message really comes across better if I actually show you examples as I tell you about this. So I'm going to be showing you some examples of cosplayers, friends of mine, who sent me some photos of themselves in cosplay where they fell into certain categories or had situations where they felt like they couldn't cosplay, or other people told them they couldn't cosplay a certain character because they didn't look like them. So let's take a look at these. The first area to discuss is age. A lot of people seem to think there's an age limit to cosplay, that you have to be a certain age to start and you have to stop by the time you're in your mid-20s. That's only for younger people. But this is very untrue. I know people well past that mid-20s point, and I know people whose kids cosplay or have started since they were babies. Literally all ages. In these examples, I'm not going to be showing you any people who are underage just simply because safety reasons. But I will show you some cosplayers who are over that apparent age limit of 25. Richard is 52 years old, yet is cosplaying wonderfully as Ford from Critical Role, even though Ford is a pretty young, I'd say man, but he's a half-orc, but a young man. And GeeDeeTee Cosplay is the same age, yet still cosplays a ton of really wonderful characters and rocks every single one of them. All of these cosplayers are examples of people cosplaying over that apparent fake age limit to cosplay, over that age of 25, cosplaying as characters who may not even be in their age group. And there is no rule saying you have to cosplay characters who are around your age. Otherwise, little girls couldn't dress up as Elsa. That's not a world we live in, is it? But if you are underage, be sure to check out my videos on tips for underage cosplayers because I do address some limits that you might have if you are an underage cosplayer. Another area people feel prevents them from cosplaying certain characters is their height. People feel like they're too tall to be certain character archetypes, and some people feel like they're far too short to be their favorite characters. But also not a limit. It's not something that should prevent you from cosplaying. A lot of people get unfairly criticized for not being the right height of the character or not within the character's range, or if they're in a group, having the group everyone be different heights than the characters actually would be. That actually doesn't matter at all. And if it's something that's important to you when you're creating cosplay photos, for example, there are ways to do illusions and such. Little Al, whose name is extremely ironic here, is a very tall guy. He's at least 6 foot if not taller, yet he's cosplaying here as a character who is about 3 feet tall. But it's still such a good cosplay. Meanwhile, TrashBunny Cosplay is on the opposite end. They are lucky if they're even 5 foot tall, yet they're cosplaying as a 7 foot tall character by using something like stilts. There's nothing wrong with using other things to modify height, like stilts or heels, depends on what you're comfortable with, but in the end, your height actually doesn't matter. You can cosplay the tall characters or you can cosplay the super short characters, no matter what height you have. Next up, weight and other width-wise measurements. This is one people can get unfairly criticized for a lot. Whether it's being too chubby, being too skinny, or chest size, which people unfairly criticize often. It's not something everyone can control. But you can cosplay outside of your body type as well if you wish. For example, Aia-Chii Cosplay here is dressed as a character who is actually pretty darn busty, but she's not, but look how badass this photo is. Amai and Yami Cosplay are another example of taller and bigger cosplayers who make absolutely amazing cosplays and look amazing in every single one they do. Or Nienna Surion, who's cosplaying as a really tiny character because she's like a 10-year-old girl, here as Cardcaptor Sakura, but still looks incredible and has won numerous awards as characters who don't have the same body type because her work is incredible and she manages to make costumes that make her look incredible in every single one. Elemental Photo and Design here made some really good points to me actually when I was discussing this. Oftentimes she likes to cosplay as characters that she feels like she will be more comfortable in with her body type because she isn't the super skinny anime character like you see in these shows sometimes. So she'll choose characters based on what she feels like she can almost modify in a way to be more comfortable for her, so she'll still feel really good and confident. and always look amazing, because when you look at these costumes, they look incredible. So sometimes it's about maybe lengthening a skirt or widening something, or maybe if you're worried about the chest area, maybe you raise it up a little bit. It's okay to modify things a little bit so that different body illusions can happen, so that you're personally more comfortable, and so you just feel good in your costume. There's nothing wrong with doing this stuff. Cosplay isn't all about being canon, but if you are someone who does enjoy doing more canon designs, there's nothing wrong with also cosplaying characters within your body type. This is actually a major decision for Cornwall's Penguin when he decided what to cosplay as and what to choose as his primary one. He figured that he could really pull off a look of Penguin, and honestly he really does. And that makes him feel really good about himself and have a lot of fun, which is what cosplay is all about. Symphony and Silk Cosplay sent me a few stories and situations that she was in as a taller cosplayer at about 5'11", and also on the plus size scale. When she started cosplaying, she realized that a lot of these different websites where you could buy cosplay didn't have her size. So she went to start looking at commercial patterns to start to learn to sew her own costumes, and realized that oftentimes her size was still excluded. So she had to do a lot of learning in order to scale up garments or to modify them to fit her. But in the end, she realized the problem actually wasn't her. It was these companies. These companies weren't including these sizes. It wasn't her fault that this was happening. And when she realized that, she was able to have a lot more fun and enjoy the process a lot more. And while the cosplay community is getting a lot better at things like that, like having costumes that already have more sizing to them, or pattern companies including more size range from really small people to much bigger people, there's still a lot of work to be done here. But as Symphony and Silk pointed out, she learned a lot in the process of trying to learn how to do these things, and now she makes absolutely incredible costumes. Her princess ball gowns are to die for and so beautiful. When she's in these costumes, most of the time people aren't looking at her size in the end. The children's faces just light up when they see her. Whether she's volunteering at events or comic convention and small children see her, they just talk to her. She is the princesses when she's talking to these kids, and it's absolutely incredible. To them, they see their favorite princess in a sparkling Swarovski-filled gown, and it's just absolute awe. They don't care if she's very tall. They don't care if she's not the same size as these princesses in the movies, which no one is because their waists are the size of their necks anyway. To these children, their favorite princess is talking to them right now, and that's all that matters. While Symphony and Silk may not be the size of these princesses in their movies, her heart is the same size, and that's what really matters and impacts her enjoyment of cosplay. Next is gender. That's right, even your gender doesn't prevent you from cosplaying certain characters. Deverel is a great example where they cosplay as characters who are male presenting, yet they themselves are not male presenting. They have a very feminine body. They look amazing as these characters, and they don't let aspect prevent them from cosplaying who they want. Or MNC Props just in their Samus cosplay. MNC Props does not necessarily have that curvaceous female body, yet still absolutely rocks this incredible costume. Even I have dabbled a little bit in crossplay here and there, and I've really enjoyed it, and I'm thinking of cosplaying more male characters in the future. This is my Sheena cosplay, which I mentioned a little bit in some of my other videos. And I really enjoyed dressing up as him, and I'm definitely considering more male characters in the future. I'm not gonna let the fact that I'm a very feminine person stop me from that. Race. This one's a big subject, but anyone of any race can cosplay whoever they want. You don't have to be white or Asian or presenting as either of those things to cosplay, and that is an absolute myth, because there is a myth going around out there that you have to be one of these two categories in order to cosplay, but it's absolutely not true. Some people of color do receive some comments from people here and there, like my good friend SMZeldaRules dressed in her Lana cosplay. Now she made this very early on, and this is actually how I discovered her, because I'm a major Legend of Zelda fan, and this was posted everywhere, like on all the Zelda pages on Facebook. But the amount of comments commenting on the race that she was too dark to actually cosplay this character was not only alarming, but also so disappointing and awful. But she didn't let it stop her. She upgraded the costume, she's dressed as other characters who do not fit into the same race as her, and always looks absolutely incredible, and always really enjoys it. While I could continue to show you examples, there's actually someone I would like to introduce you to talk a little bit more about being a cosplayer with melanin. So I'm gonna give the floor to FadhiliTheOne and only to talk a little bit more about being a cosplayer with melanin and the experience of that. So I'm gonna give the floor to Fadzili.
Hey y'all, it's FadhiliTheOne and only, jumping in to talk to anybody who is afraid of cosplaying, because you have melanin. So for those of you who don't know me, I've been cosplaying for 7 years at this point and competing for almost 4. I want to start off by saying that wherever humans go, human-related issues will follow, whether that's sexism, homophobia, and yes, racism. You're not going to be able to escape these issues just because you put a wig on. And it would be really unwise of me to be telling you otherwise. The main thing that I've noticed with people who are afraid to cosplay a character specifically because they're black, it's not necessarily because they don't think they're gonna look cute in the cosplay. It's because they're afraid of what the outside world is gonna say. Because there is a particular brand of spice that comes with having to deal with racism. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You need to understand. Racist people are gonna be racist regardless of if you wear the costume or not. And that is not a you problem. That is a them problem. They have some internalized issues and lack of education to deal with, but that is not your problem. And besides, are you really gonna let some racist on the internet stop you from living your best life? In this Panera? In this periodic table? In this paleontology? I don't think so. You're already living in this world as a black person, so you kind of have to carry that energy wherever you go regardless. That being said, what has definitely changed my cosplaying experience is me taking control of the controllable variables. I cannot control the racists, and I cannot control when they will choose to show up. What I can control, however, is the cosplays that I choose to do, the events that I choose to go to, the way that I choose to interact with other people, the competitions that I choose to participate in, the amount of activities that I choose to do during conventions, the way that I choose to interact online, and the way that I choose to present myself. These are a few examples of the things that I do have control over. And holding on to those controllables and making the most of my experiences by controlling those variables makes it easier for me to handle the non-controllable factors when they decide to show up. So instead of worrying about when and how these people are going to show up in your life, focus more on the controllable variables. Because think about it. If I were to worry so much about the non-controllable, like I control the races, if I were to focus so much energy on them, the amount of things I would have missed out on because I was afraid of what would happen, I don't even want to think about. I'm not even gonna think about it. Cosplaying, not the costume, but like the play part, the social experience as it is very much what you make of it. So if they want to talk, give them something good to talk about. Sweetie! And if after all this you're still hesitant, I would recommend you check out the hashtag 28 Days of Black Cosplayers and the hashtag Black Cosplayer here, because you will then see that you're not alone. So come and join the party. And if you decide to join the party, let me know, you know? Just come say hi. Just come say hi. Today is the first day to the rest of your life, so have a fantastic one, okay? Knowledge is power. Drink your water. See ya later. Wow, that rhymes. Wow, a whole catchphrase. That rhymed. Did you hear that? Wow, that rhymes. Okay.
So I'll be putting Fadzili's links down in the description below, and also be sure to check out 28 Days of Black Cosplay, because that is happening right now this month when this video is coming out. It really does showcase these cosplayers who sometimes get a little bit pushed aside compared to some of the cosplayers who are either white or Asian, which is really unfortunate because there are so many incredible people of color and black cosplayers out there who deserve to also have their work seen. Now, before I end this video, there is another story I would like to share, and this was sent to me by my very good friend Quincy, who has been streaming recently, and I'll put their Twitch down in the links below. He had an experience where someone tried to give him constructive criticism on his cosplay, but really only talked about physical things about himself that he couldn't change: his height and his skin color. He decided to start sewing for the first time to make a cosplay of Soul from Soul Eater, and went to Otakuthon 2011 wearing it, feeling very good about it, and then an acquaintance of his approaches him and tells him that he's too dark and too tall to cosplay as Soul, to the point that he ended up going to the bathroom right after that and changing out of the cosplay completely, just out of embarrassment because someone made that comment to him. He didn't cosplay again until 3 years later when Assassin's Creed 4 came out, and something about the character of Edward just clicked with him. So he decided to put his heart and soul into it and made this cosplay from scratch. When he had the finished costume on, he had such a feeling of badassery and enjoyed the experience so much. A little light bulb kind of went off in his head. Suddenly what others thought about his cosplay didn't matter to him. He was suddenly surrounded by friends who were supportive and enjoying this hobby with him. Like FadhiliTheOne said, no matter what, sometimes people are going to have awful opinions or just be bad people or be bullies. Why let that stop you from enjoying yourself, from making friends and having a good time? At the end of the day, don't worry about looking exactly like the character stop you from cosplaying as them. If you really like that character and really want to make that outfit or buy that outfit or act like them on TikTok, you do that. The cosplay community is growing in size and also growing in acceptance towards all these different things. While yes, there's gonna be a few bad eggs, the majority of the cosplay community invites you with open arms. We're all waiting for these new people to join. There are people in the cosplay community who will be your people. There's a place for everyone in the cosplay community, no matter what some people out there might say. So if you've ever wondered, can I cosplay? The answer is yes, you can. So thank you guys so much for watching my video, and be sure to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And be sure to check out the links down in the description below, where I've linked some of these amazing cosplayers that I've shared today. And I'd really like to thank FadhiliTheOne for taking some time out of her day to film that little snippet. And be sure to go check out her channel, where she'll be talking a little bit more about these experiences and some other experiences she's had in her other videos. She's an absolutely incredible cosplayer and deserves a little bit of recognition for that. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. So see you guys later.